بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين برئ الخلائق أجمعين، وصلى الله على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وقوله الحق، هو أصدق القائلين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياؤهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. اللهم صل على محمد وآله. Please request some brothers to sit in the front for the respect to the majlis and the member, which we are here to pay respects to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Bismillah, please come closer if you can. If someone has a back problem, I can understand, no problem. Please say salawat. Santu, Jazakallah, Santu. Increase your reward. We are doing it for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. This is a very important time of the year. Laylatul Ashura. And this is the most sorrowful night. And we are here to commemorate a tragic in history. We want to show our Prophet that we feel the pain the Prophet is suffering. We are always also here to offer our condolence to Imam of our time, because many of great ulama have written in their books, including Allama Amini and others, that when Ashura comes, it is a very difficult time for Imam Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam, that we should give sadaqat for Imam Mahdi's salamati, Imagine what our Imam is experiencing right now. We are muhibbin of Ahlul Bayt, and we can try to understand something and we feel something. That's why we gather the night of Ashura, day of Ashura. Cannot imagine what the Sayyidah Fatimatu Zahra Salamullah alaiha is feeling right now, or what her son has been through. What the Ahlul Bayt, especially the Imam of our time, the weight on his chest that he feels, cannot imagine. So we, being followers and lovers of Ahlul Bayt, have to pray for our Imam, pray for his salamati, and offer our aziyat and condolence to Imam of our time, first and foremost. So we take Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the witness of this Laylatul Ashura, and for tomorrow we offer our condolence to Imam Zaman alayhi salam. We should recite when we can, Ziyarat Nahiya, which it's narrated from Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, where he describes the day of Ashura and Shahadat of Ansar, Shahadat of Abi Abdullah, Ziyarat Nahiya. That is something, and also Ziyarat Ashura this night and for tomorrow. The day of Ashura was the most tragic day throughout history. But the Bani Umayyah committed this crime against Islam, against Quran, against the Holy Prophet of Islam and his family, in their most effort to destroy Islam once and for all, by destroying the most important representative of Islam, which was Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and his whole family, eradicate and eliminate any trace of Khanadan al-Risalat What did they want to achieve? Destroy Islam forever. When they did that, they felt that they had accomplished a great victory. So they were celebrating the day of Ashura. The Yawman Farihat bihi Alu, Marwan, Alu Ziyad. This is the day of Ashura where the Bani Umayyah, Muawiyah and Yazid's followers, Al Ziyad, Marwan, all of these, especially Yazid ibn Muawiyah, they celebrated this day. And Bani Umayyah, after Karbala, they continued to celebrate this day, Ashura, after this day. And they fabricated حادثی رو جعل کردن، یعنی اعلام کردن که روز عاشورا روز جشن و سروره و خورده این عوام جاهل دادن که مثلا همه جشن بگیرن روز عاشورا و روزه را گفتن مستحبه. They announced that fasting on the day of Ashura is mustahab, and they fabricated fake hadiths, fake traditions, saying this is the day when, I don't know, the Kashti and Nuh, the Salamati be Zamin Rasid, it landed on the earth. This is the day when, I don't know, Isa alayhi salam was taken to the sky. This is the day when Ibrahim alayhi salam was saved by Allah. This is all lies. Hame durugh hai. These are things they made up so that they would tell the people that the day of Ashura is a day of celebration. There's some Jahil Awam, if you talk to them, they even say that, well, Imam Hussein, but by his shahadat, achieved a sa'adat in the eyes of Allah. So he achieved success. We should not be crying, we should be happy for his success. Imagine at this twisted way of thinking. I would humbly, I would give a short answer to this. Those who say these kind of things, who think that, well, Imam Hussein, it was like the victory of blood over the sword, haq over batil. Though haq was killed in such a brutal way, Ahl Haq were killed in such a brutal way, say that this is not a day to cry, this is a day to be happy. Well, the response is that Imam Hussein achieved his greatest glory. This is the shahadat that, the mirath of Ahlul Bayt. This is a legacy of Ahlul Bayt, an inheritance of Ahlul Bayt to achieve shahadat, no doubt. And in real terms, Imam Hussein achieved his objectives by fulfilling his promise he made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, promise he made to his grandfather. But who is to decide whether you are supposed to celebrate a day or mourn on the day? Ki bayad tasmim begire ke ma bayad ruzi ro jashan begirim ya ruzi ro matam kunim wa azadari kunim? Ki bayad in tasmim ro begire? Are we the ones to decide? But we know from history that Rasulullah mourned this day. We know from history that Imam Ali alayhi salam mourned and cried on this day. We know that Hazrat Fatima Zahra salamullah cried on this day. We know that all the Ahlul Bayt have cried on this day, and there are hundreds of ahadith on this subject that a person who takes part in the mourning and majlis azadari of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and has one drop of tear in his eyes will be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And reading Ziyarat Ashura, for example, Sawab is mentioned that the person who does that, he's like considered among the Shuhada of Karbala, resurrected with the Shuhada of Karbala. Or someone who pays respect to Ahlul Bayt on Ashura, right? He's with the Ahlul Bayt in Jannah. These are the Sawab mentioned for Azadari, for shedding tears, for crying. And it is said that a person who cannot cry for any reason should look like a crying person. Man baka aw tabaka falahul jannah. A person who cries or a person who takes the appearance of a person who is sad and mournful and mourning, he's also promised. Why is that so? Because in Islam, wilayat is the most important subject. Wilayat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has awliya on earth. Allah has not abandoned this earth for human beings to decide their course of life for themselves. Allah has a hujjat on this earth. And Imam Hussein, by his shahadat, wanted to revive the issue of wilayat of Ali Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Please say the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. امام حسین علیه السلام میخواست احیا کنه غدیر رو، میخواست احیا کنه مسئله ولایت رو. مسئله اینقدر مهم بود که حاضر بود برش جان فدا کنه، اهل بیتش رو از به اسارت بده، همه اهل و عیالش شهید بشن. It was so important for Imam Hussein علیه السلام. I will mention a riwayat from narrated from both Imam Baqir and Imam Sadiq علیه السلام. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And you will find this riwayat multiple times narrated in Kafi Kitab Hadith, and in many other books of Hadith, you will find the same Hadith. Buni al-Islamu ala khamsin. Islam is built on 5 pillars. These are not the 5 pillars they tell you about. No, the 5 pillars of Islam, 5 pillars of Islam. These are all made up by people. That's not the 5 pillars of Islam at all. No Hadith saying that. Which they have, every American, you ask them 5 pillars of Islam, they've heard it from these people who keep telling them 5 pillars of Islam. Nothing to do with Islam. I'm not saying those things are not part of Islam, but this term 5 pillars of Islam is not that. 5 pillars are the ones we are receiving from Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. Imam said, Islam is standing on 5 pillars. Buni al-Islamu ala khamsin. 5 pillars. Ala salati. Salati was zakati was sawmi wal hajji wal wilaya. On 5 pillars. First is salat. Second one is zakat. The third one is fasting, right? Daily prayers. Zakat, charity that your person has to give. Now it involves wajib charity and mustahab charity. Zakat, part of the Islamic system. Hajj. Hajj is among those 5 pillars. Right? Fasting was sawm. Okay. Fasting is among those 5 pillars. And the 5th one, wal walaya. Walaya is the 5th pillar. Walam yunada bi shay'in kama nudiya bil walaya. Nothing has been emphasized as much as this 5th one, which is the walayat. Walayat has been emphasized more than salat, more than zakat, more than sawm, and more than hajj. The most important thing that has been emphasized the most is the issue of walayat. In this regard, even in books of Ahlul Sunnah, you will find this riwayat in some places. That's not our point. We are looking at what Ahlul Bayt have said, because the Prophet left behind Quran and Ahlul Bayt. So we don't really have to worry about what other people say, right? Some people, mention this thing that other Muslims, for example, don't agree with us on a lot of things. That is a fact. Don't agree with us. We don't agree with them. If, for example, someone has something in their books which they think is from Rasulullah, right? Let them act upon it. We don't have to quarrel with them. We don't have to dispute with them or argue with them. We don't have to worry about them. We have to tell them that we are Shia Muslims, right? You can follow your hadith, Bismillah. You can follow the hadith if you think is right, Bismillah. But we are not others. We are Shia Muslims. We receive our hadith from Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa. And yes, if they sit down and want to have a discussion with us, academic discussion, like let's say which of these 2 opinions is correct, we can prove to them that their opinion is wrong, ours is right. From our viewpoint, obviously we have evidence to prove that. Again, in one of the books of Ahlul Sunnah, Ibn Mardawai, who's one of the ulama of Ahlul Sunnah, he has a kitab, he's a book by the name Manaqib Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. In that book, he narrates on page 71 from the Sahabi of Rasul, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, who says, and so this is what his book. This book says that people have been commanded to do 5 things. People were commanded for 5 things. Regarding 5 things, people have been given instructions. فَعَمِلُوا بِأَرْبَعٍ وَتَرَكُوا وَاحِدَةً. So they took 4 of those 5 things and left one thing. They left the 5th one. They took 4 of those 5 things and left the 5th one. So the one of the people present asked him, Abu Sa'id, Ya Abu Sa'id, ma hadhihi al-arba' allati amilu biha? What are those 4 things that people practiced and acted upon? Said Abu Sa'id said, As-salatu was-zakatu wal-hajju was-sawm. He took those 4 out of that hadith. This is not the time to discuss. Please recite a salawat and sit down, please. Yeah. This is. Please, can you please remain seated? This is not. Yeah, my apologies to you. My apologies. I'm here for you after the majlis. Please cite a salawat. Took 4 things. Salat was zakat was sawm wal hajj, right? And left the 5th one. So he said they took this 4 things, salat was zakat was sawm wal hajj. So the person asked, Famal wahida allati tarakuha. What is the one that they left and they abandoned and did not practice? Abu Sa'id said, Walayatu Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa They abandoned the walayat of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Walayat means walayat of Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. So the person asked, Wa innaha muftaradatun ma'ahunna. Is walayat of Ali ibn Abi Talib an obligation? Is it wajib? Is it farz upon the people like those other ones, like salat and zakat and sawm and hajj? So Abu Sa'id said, Naam. Absolutely. Also farz and wajib like salat and sawm. The person said, Faqad kafar an-nas. If that is the case, then people have become kafir. Abu Sa'id replies, Fama zambi. It's not my sin. I am not responsible. I am telling you the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he required people to follow these 5 things. If they leave the 5th one, it is the most important one. It's whose fault is this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my apologies to you, brother. We love to discuss all things. We are you see, followers of Ahlul Bayt. We welcome all kinds of questions and discussions. It's just that decorum, the place of majlis is for remembering Imam Hussain al-Islam. Please cite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. What is walayat and what is the difference between walayat and risalat and nubuwat? This is important for all of us. I promised this 2 nights ago that we'll go over this and very briefly. The Orafa, people of Irfan have written great books on spirituality, mysticism, right? Irfan, like Muhyiddin ibn Arabi and others who have written, have all addressed the issue of walayat. Sunni Orafa and Shia Orafa all have written on this subject. Walayat is a subject which is so critical and so essential to Islam and the spirituality of Islam. It is seen as this. Walayat is that direct communication and connection between a human being and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any medium. ارتباط بين إنسان وخداس بدون هیچ واسطة. This is walayat. Walayat is a person in every time there must be a wali of Allah on this earth or several awliya. A person who receives walayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a person who is chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are some who receive walayat sometime during their life because of their taqwa. But a person who is born and chosen from his birth to be a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, usually one such person can become a nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is given nubuwat. And among such people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses His Rasul, His messengers, gives them risalat. So again, what is the difference between walayat and nabuwat? And walayat and risalat? Please cite a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. You will see that all the fazail of Mawla Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, why are they so important for us? In the light of this topic, you see. Walayat is the fifth most important thing in Islam. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a person on this earth as hujjat, always. لولا الحجة لساخت الأرض بأهلها. If Allah's hujjat was not alive on the face of this earth, the whole earth will be destroyed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the first person, Adam, as his hujjat. So He did not send a person on this earth without a hujjat. He first sent His hujjat on this earth. What is the hujjat? Hujjat is the clearest, most clear evidence of the wujud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As a person who sets example from his behavior, from his words, of a pure and perfect life on the face of this earth. Because he is directly connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Adam alayhi salam was appointed as a khalifa by Allah on the face of this earth. Well, the angels did not understand it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fil ardi khalifa, right? Allah said to the angels, I'm appointing a khalifa on the face of this earth. Angels, some of them, they asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why would you appoint a human being as a khalifa on earth? We are present here to praise and glorify you. If you send a human being on this earth, he will create bloodshed, fasad on this earth. We are angels, we do not do fasad. We are here to glorify you. Tasbih, tahmeed, tahleel, right? We can do that. Meaning to say, why don't you appoint Alak, an angel, as your Khalifa? Why would you choose a human being? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's answer was, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. He did not give an answer. He said, I know things you do not know. Later on, Allah put the angels to a test. And the test was about some asma. Some names. What are those? The angels could not tell what those names were. But Adam alayhi salam had the capability to tell the names, what those names really mean. So, you see, human being has been given certain qualities. We can understand, for example, what ithar means, what sacrifice means. We can understand, for example, what love means, what caring for other people means. You know, for example, what tawazu means. You know, for example, what sadaqat means. When we have a choice between truthfulness and falsehood or lying, human beings have the capacity to understand honesty. Human beings have the capacity to understand adalat. Human beings have the capacity to understand amanat, saja'at. We are creatures of Allah who have the capacity to choose good behavior over bad behavior, by understanding what is right and what is wrong, right? Angels don't have such an ikhtiyar. Angels are given knowledge. They are uqul. They are intelligent beings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who do not have a physical body that would have such desires like we do. Has ikhtiyar, free will, like we do. Angels do not have a free will. They have been created by Allah in a very pure state with an aql and wisdom. And they have been given a lot of knowledge, and everyone has a certain amount of knowledge. Every angel's place is assigned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala based on how much knowledge has been given to that angel. But human beings are not confined or limited to one level. A human being can rise above the angels if he chooses his aql over his physical desires, over his greed, over his impulses, over his temptations. If he can really command his control over his ghazab and shahwat, a human being can rise above the angels. If he does not, if she does not, then this human being can descend much below the level of animals and beasts. Because animals are just doing what they have been created to do. Human being has an aql, can understand and do better, and for a human being to lock his aql and act like an animal, it brings this human being to a state lower than animals and beasts. Right? Recite salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Human beings need a role model. Human beings need a good example to follow. Allah had such an example in every age. Adam was an example like that. Musa was an example like that. Ibrahim was an example. Nuh was such an example, right? Isa alayhi salam was such an example for human beings, that they look at the beautiful and pure life of Jesus alayhi salam, ala nabiyina wa alihi wa alayhi salam, and follow them, take inspiration from them. Every Nabi that came was actually a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that made that person build that capacity, that Allah will reveal some messages on that person. Sometimes that message was given to the person so that that person would promote, would call the people toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes that message was a kind of a shariat, a whole system of laws, how to pray, how to fast, how to perform your obligations, such as Hajj for us and other things. That was called shariat. Such a person, such a Nabi who was such a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was given the name Rasul. Risala is the shariat that was given to a Nabi. A Nabi who is already a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So wilayat is the core of Nabuwat. Wilayat is the core of Risalat. Without wilayat, no one can become a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without wilayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no human being can become a Rasul of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Please cite the salawat. And wilayat has many levels. Not every wali is the same. Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, and we have khatams. The difference is from the earth till the endless, to the heavens. There's no way to describe the distance between the levels of Adam alayhi salam and the level of Khatam al-Mursaleen, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because the narrations that we have, and plenty of them, that Adam was created, he thought that he was the most special, and he was told that if it was, and he saw some names over the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bright names, and he asked Allah, what are those names? Allah said, these are Muhammadun wa Aliyun wa Fatima wal Hasan wal Husayn alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa. So he could sense that they have been creations by Allah before he created me. So he asked Allah, who are they? Allah described some of their fadail, then he said, if it was not for them, I would not have created you. Same way we have hadith on the, merits of Kaaba, importance of Kaaba in Islam, significance of Makkah city. City of Makkah houses the Kaaba, it's in it, right? One day the riwayat of Ahlul Bayt again tell us that Kaaba, or the city of Makkah, was feeling very proud. There is no city like me, where Allah has built his house, And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Makkah was showing this feeling of pride, Allah raised the level of Karbala in the eyes of Makkah. And Makkah saw the city of Karbala rising so much that it reached the highest level in paradise. Allah said, if it was not for Karbala, I would not have created you, O Makkah. It was because of Karbala that I created Makkah. It was because of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam that I created this world. It was because of Ali that Allah created, the Panjatan, Lawlaka lama khalaqtul aflaq. Let me present this hadith to you. Please cite a salawat. Allahumma salli. Lawlaka lama khalaqtul aflaq. Muhammad, if it was not for you, I would not have created this heaven and the earth. وَلَوْلَا عَلِيٌّ لَمَا خَلَقْتُكَ. And if it was not for Ali, I would not have created you. Which means that if there was nothing after you, then you will die with nothing remaining of Islam. There has to be someone, a wali, after you pass away from this life, which will keep your deen, your message alive. لَوْلَا عَلِيٌّ لَمَا خَلَقْتُكَ وَلَوْلَا فَاطِمَةَ لَمَا خَلَقْتُكُمَا. But if it was not Fatima salamullah alayha, I would not have created Muhammad and Ali. What does that mean? If there was no imamat after Ali ibn Abi Talib, the message of Ali would be lost. The message of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would be lost, right? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And that is the issue of wilayat, which the Holy Prophet announced on the day of Ghadir. Ghadir is very important for us. Imagine a human being thinking that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was like me. There are a lot of Muslims, they think that Rasulullah, na'udhu billah, was like a postman. Was like one of us. He came and gave us the Quran and left. Well, this is such an insult to Quran, to Islam, to Rasulullah, for a person to think that way. There is like, I don't know, 1/4 or more population on this world believing in this beautiful person called Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa. And they love him and respect him and follow him. Why? Because he was the living Quran. He lived a life that attracted millions of people to his character. That's why he was not just a messenger, like in literal meaning of a messenger or a postman coming to deliver a book to your house and go. He was not that. They believed in Quran because they saw the personality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because he was such a great person. After 40 years of living with those people in Mecca, right, calling him Sadiq and Amin, one day he comes on the Mount Qubais and he says, people, if I tell you that there's an army about to attack you, would you believe me? They said, absolutely. Because you are the most truthful person in Mecca. Whatever you say, we'll accept. And that I've come to you with a message that no one has come before. I invite you to La ilaha illallah as a messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whoever accepts this message will find falah and najat on the day of Qiyamah. So he was such a person. So Allah gave his wilayat at the highest level to Holy Prophet of Islam. And that highest level continued in the Ahlul Bayt of Holy Prophet. Ali has the same level of wilayat as Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fatima Zahra had the same level of wilayat as Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli. And same level of wilayat continued in the Ahlul Bayt and in the zuriyat of the Holy Prophet. It was through his daughter. So, wilayat is the core. Is the wilayat equal among the prophets? And wilayat of Ibrahim is higher than the wilayat of other prophets, many prophets. Till you get to the last prophet, his wilayat was of the highest level. Because Allah spoke to him directly without any medium, without anyone. But sometimes angel would bring. Allah has a protocol. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asbab. Allah has created asbab. Allah loves to do things according to certain asbab. He has created system in this physical world and also a system in the spiritual realm. He has a system. He follows that system. But sometimes he supersedes his own system. He sometimes speaks to Holy Prophet directly. Sometimes he takes the Prophet from this earth into a journey of Mi'raj into the heavens. Putting aside all the natural laws, all the systems that he creates, because he wants to show the people that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the highest of creations. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa. The connection between Allah and Rasulullah is not through anyone else, not through any Jibreel or anyone, because the hadith of the night of Mi'raj says that I was Jibreel, that he was with the Holy Prophet, and the Holy Prophet describes that we got to a place where Jibreel said, from this point onwards, O Muhammad, you go alone. Holy Prophet said, Jibreel, you have accompanied me all this journey. Why don't you come along? He said, لو دنوت أنملة لاحترقت. If I take one more step, I will burn. I'm not allowed to proceed beyond this point. Brothers, can we step a little closer to the member? We've been asked to. Allahumma salli. Just a couple of more fadail of Mawla Ali alayhi salam, another salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. These fadail are been given for a reason. Unless you have a person like Ali as your role model, you will not know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot be close to Allah without having a person like Ali as a perfect role model for us. Unfortunately, all other books of Allah have been tampered with. Nothing remains. And even in the Muslim culture, unfortunately, the hadith has been tampered. One thing that we still hold on to, which has remained, which has survived the test of time, is because of the sacrifices of people like Hussein ibn Ali, is the hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam that we have. The shining, beautiful words of Holy Prophet. In Bihar, we find this hadith. Qala Rasulullah li Ali ibn Abi Talib. Allah, Rasulullah said to Ali ibn Abi Talib, Innama mathaluka mathalu qul huwallahu ahad. Ali, your parable, no, your likeness is that of the Surah Ikhlas. You are like qul huwallahu ahad. How? فَإِنَّهُ مَنْ قَرَأَهَا مَرَّةً فَكَأَنَّمَا قَرَأَ ثُلْثَ الْقُرْآنِ. Ali, you're like the Qul Huwallahu Ahad. Why? Because a person who reads Qul Huwallah once, it's like he has recited 1/3 of the Quran. Right? You know about this? It is recommended that before going to bed, and when you want to sleep, read Qul Huwallah 3 times. It's like you have finished the whole Quran before going to bed. Please cite a salawat. The Prophet said, "O Ali, وَمَنْ قَرَأَهَا مَرَّتَيْنِ فَكَأَنَّمَا قَرَأَ ثُلُثَيِ الْقُرْآنِ." Example is like Qul Huwallahu Ahad. A person recites Qul Huwallah twice, it's like he has finished 2/3 of the Quran. He said, وَمَنْ قَرَأَهَا ثَلَاثَ مَرَّاتٍ فَكَأَنَّمَا قَرَأَ الْقُرْآنَ كُلَّهُ. A person recites Qul Huwallah 3 times, it's like he has finished the whole Quran. Then he explained, the Holy Prophet, وَكَذَلِكَ أَنْتَ. And the same way you, O Ali, مَنْ أَحَبَّكَ بِقَلْبِهِ كَانَ لَهُ ثُلْثُ ثَوَابِ الْعِبَادِ. Ali, you are just like Qul Huwallah. Why? Because whoever loves you with his or her heart has the thawab of the ibadat of 1/3 of the whole humanity. Man ahabbaka biqalbihi wa lisanihi kana lahu thulutha thawabil ibad. A person who loves you with his heart and with his words, with his speech, shows your fadail, expresses your fadail through his tongue, right? Has the thawab of the ibadat of 2/3 of the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ أَحَبَّكَ بِقَلْبِهِ وَلِسَانِهِ وَيَدِهِ كَانَ لَهُ ثَوَابُ الْعِبَادِ أَجْمَعُ. He said, "O Ali, a person who loves you with his heart, with his tongue, and with his actions, he supports you, your imamat today, right? كَانَ لَهُ ثَوَابُ الْعِبَادِ. He has the thawab of all the humanity put together from Adam till the Qiyam of Sa'ah." Salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Because the Holy Prophet not a deen, you see. And I'll finish with one riwayat, which is I just love it so much. Whenever I get a chance, I share with people to understand this. Really register this. Try, inshallah. You know about Hajj. The day of Arafah in Hajj is the 9th of Al-Hajj. When you go for Hajj on the 9th of the Hajj is the biggest. It's the Yawm al-Hajj al-Akbar is the day of Arafah, 9th of the Hajj, where all the people are gathered on the plains of Arafat. And on that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hadith of Ahlul Bayt, on that day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to his angels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to Malaik, right? He says, "O Malaik, I don't allow you to see the hearts of my servants. You can only see their actions, but you cannot look into their hearts. Angels cannot look at our hearts. Even those Kiram al-Katibin, the Katibin, those 2 angels on our shoulders, they only see our actions. They don't know about niyat, what we are thinking, what we are thinking about doing, what we are dreaming. They don't know any of that. They only see the actions from outside. They have no permission from Allah to look in the heart of a person or what he's thinking. No way. On the day of Arafat, the Hajis who gather over there, Allah says to his angels, look at, first of all, he says, look at my servants, they have come such a long way for Hajj, for the sake of my pleasure. But in Allah, they have come and taken all this dust of this journey, the hardships and the money they have spent, all the sacrifices they have made to come to Hajj. Hajj is always difficult. I don't know why, always difficult. Even today with the planes and all the hotels and everything, Hajj is Hajj. My servants, the angels are looking at, all these Hajis over there, praying or their salat and dua and whatever. Allah says to them, today I allow you to look in their hearts. Look in their hearts. They have come to obey me. They have come to worship. Ibadah, look in their hearts. And when Allah removes the curtain from the eyes of the angels and the angels see hearts of these qulub, of these people who have come hajis, zuwar. Some hearts are bright. Light is emitting from those hearts. While other hearts are dark and smoke is rising, coming out of those hearts. Angels are shocked to see this. They're shocked to see, oh Allah, what is it? What is this? All look the same, but how come some of them, their hearts are so beautiful? Some of them, their hearts are so dark. Smoke is coming out. What is that? I'm only summarizing that hadith for you, brothers and sisters, just to emphasize this issue of wilayat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered the angel. He said, people accepted Iman in my Habib, in my Nabi, in my Rasul, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And they said to my Prophet, my messenger, whatever you say, we believe. Whatever you ask us to do, we will do. We accept, we commit to your obedience, basically. When the day of Ghadir came, and Rasulullah, my prophet, took Ali on the stage, right? Lifted him up. Qama aliyan alaman. He was brought up, announced by the Holy Prophet as my Khalifa, as his successor. That was the day of the test. Because they had been saying, we accept whatever you tell us. Whatever you tell us to do, we will obey. Sam'an wa ta'atan. But when the test came, the test was at the end of all this work of Risalah, just 4 months, I guess, even less than that. Zil Hajj, Rasulullah passed away in Safar, Muharram Safar. 2 months later, Prophet passed away. 2 months before his death, Prophet put the whole ummah to a test. He said, إن كنت مولاه فهذا علي مولاه اللهم والي من والاه وعاد من عاداه وانصر من نصره واخذل من خذله. He made that announcement. That was the test. That was the test. All the nifaq and kufr in the hearts of these people who were calling themselves Muslims came out like that smoke. Because their hearts were dark. The heart is dark. Even if you wear beautiful clothes, it does not hide that from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The test was, do you fully accept Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his risalat? If you do, then you will accept Ali alayhi salatu wasalam as his Khalifa and Wasi and Akhi and his brother. Must accept. Many doubted. Majority refused to accept. Although they came and said, Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, they performed bay'at. Some of them even stepped forward and said, Bakhin ya Ali. Allah made you the wali, mawla of all the mu'mineen and mu'minat till the day of judgment. They said that. Not believe in it. That was the day when they doubted the risalat of my Nabi. And because of that, it showed that they did not fully accept the risalat of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's why those who claim La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, when they come for Arafat, for Hajj, right? they have such bughz and grudges against Ali, hatred against Ali, or doubts, shak, doubts about the maqam and fada'il of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, when they compare Ali alayhi salam with others, or they share half of their love is for Ali and half for someone else, right? They have not believed in Risalat of the Holy Prophet. Therefore, their hearts are not pure, their hearts are not bright, their hearts are dark, polluted, infected by Iblis and Shaitan. Person cannot be a lover of Akhirat and the lover of Dunya at the same time. Not be. A person cannot love Akhirat, meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and love this Dunya in the same time. You either love this Dunya, or you love Akhirat. That's why when the day of Ashura comes, a person who loves Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he revives that pledge he makes with Imam Hussain alayhi salam. The pledge, the promise. Promise is, see, we come to Majlis of Sayyid al-Shuhada. There's so many ways we can make our niyat, One niyat could be, Ya Hussain, we are here, we are here to ask for our du'as. Give us this, give us that. That's one way. Other person comes, as a scholar said, to say to Imam, Ya Hussain, accept me in your service. I give my family to you. Give my money to you. I'm not here asking you something. I'm here to offer you everything. Please accept from me. Hussain ibn Ali got killed, and he gave his family and everything for a person to come and be so bakhil and be so stingy, and instead of willing to give Imam Hussain anything, is asking Imam Hussain. It's the day we pledged our support to Imam Hussain, to support to Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Our Imam is waiting for us. Revenge of Hussain ibn Ali's killing has not been taken. Fatima is azadar. Fatima is crying since the day this happened. As I mentioned earlier, when the Malaik, when they return from ziyarat of Imam Hussain in Karbala, Fatima's cries are heard all over the Malakut, because she sees the whole sahne, the whole event of Karbala repeat in front of her eyes. So the tragedy is still fresh and alive, not been forgotten at all. Every time there is an Eid, it is a day of sorrow for Ahlul Bayt, because they see their wilayat in the hands of Taghut. Every day when there is a day when people are happy and they're celebrating their Eid, that's a day of gham for Ahlul Bayt, not a day of happiness, because all the benefits of Islam are lost because of the hukumat of Taghut. All the hadith and literature, everything about ta'wil of Quran, all the Mus'haf of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Imagine the whole world on one side, just the Mus'haf of Ali ibn Abi Talib. The Quran of Ali, where Ali alayhi salam explained the meanings of what this Quran means, is not in our hands. In the hands of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. People are holding on to this Quran without any understanding of what this means. Laylatul Ashura, I will wrap up this discussion. Laylatul Ashura is a night of pain and sorrow. Night when Zainab is crying loud. She slapped her face on this night. She was doing matam herself. The narrations are just so many, we cannot doubt it. Zainab salamullah alayha, that in shab Ashura, Zainab azadar bud. چنین گریه کرد، چنین سر و صورتش رو زده امشب. آیا یک حسینی، یک عزادار امام حسین نباید امشب مثل زینب اقلا گریه بکنه؟ این شبی در تاریخ واقع نشده، شبی که اهل بیت اسیر شدن در بین دشمنان، در 4 طرف محاصره شدن، شبی که زینب دید صدای لشکر عمر سعد داشت نزدیک میشد، اینا سوار بر اسباتون شدن. ابن سعد اعلام کرد که ای لشکر خدا سوار شوید، بروید به سوی بهشت. بهشت رو اینها قرار دادن کشتن امام حسین. اجرش بهشت است. چنین چیزی آیا دیگه؟ این تیر زد به سوی خیام امام حسین. زینب صدا دید که برادرش حسین ابن علی نشسته در حال خوابه. باز امام حسین علیه السلام on this night at around this hour, right before Maghrib, when the army of Ibn Sa'd started, he announced, Ya khaylallah irkabi, bil jannati abshiri. Get on the horses, go and attack the camp of Hussein and finish them off today. Because Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad issues the order that Hussein must comply. Hussein must give his bay'at to Yazid or be killed. And he gave the order that his body must be trampled with horses, that his head must be cut off and taken on a spear from Karbala to Kufa. This was the order issued. When he heard the order, Shimr brought that. Ibn Sa'd said, I will be the one to execute it. Shot an arrow, announced all the army, they got on their horses. Imagine thousands of horses right, in front of the small camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, which had women and children in them. Zainab, Kulsum, Layla, Farve, Rubab, were other women in the camp of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And when then the all the cavalry started moving, the ground started shaking. Zainab could sense it. She came to her brother Hussein, saw that he was sitting on the ground outside a tent with his head over his knees, resting his head over his sword, as if he was between Khab and Bidari. He was in a state of spiritual mukashafa. Zainab said, Brother, don't you hear these sounds? Imam Hussein opened his eyes and he turned his face to Zainab and said, My sister, I was just with Rasulullah. I just saw Rasulullah, my grandfather, speaking to me and saying, Hussein, it is very soon that you will come and see us. Very soon, Hussein, you will come and see me. So the time has come, Zainab. And Zainab said, Are you preparing yourself to be killed? Oh, my brother. She started doing matam over her chest. He said, Zainab, death will come to everyone. No one can escape death. It has come to my father. It has come to my brother. It has come to my grandfather. Then he turned to Abbas and said, Ask them for one night. Abbas went and asked them. This is a night of Ashura Imam Hussein took for ibadat of Allah. And to give a chance to the enemy and also give a chance to some of his ashab if they wanted to leave. But no one wanted to leave this night. This is the night where the ashab of Imam Hussein heard Imam Hussein say, I have not seen ashab more faithful than you all. I have not seen ashab more truthful than you all. Which means even Rasulullah did not have the ashab like Imam Hussein did in Karbala. No one will reach the greatness of the ashab of Sayyid al-Shuhada in Karbala. Even the ashab of Sahib al-Zaman. The ashab of Sayyid al-Shuhada at the highest level of their faithfulness to Ahlul Bayt. This night Imam Hussein al-Islam was walking between the camps. Zainab came to Imam Hussein al-Islam, brother, have you tested the loyalty of your companions? What if tomorrow when the war starts, they leave us in the hands of these enemies? Prophet's family members are left between, surrounded and ambushed by these enemies. Have you tested them? Imam Hussein replied, Sister, I have tested them and I have found them more in love with Shahadat than a child to the chest of his mother. More in love with Shahadat. This discussion was heard by Habib ibn Mazahir. Habib ibn Mazahir got up and went to the Ashab and Ansar of Imam Hussein. He said, oh my Ashab. Al-Fazl saw Habib ibn Mazahir going somewhere. He stood up. He said, No, Ya Qamar Bani Hashim, you stay where you are. This is a test for us, the Ansar of Hussein. This is not a test for you. The Ashab came in front of the camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They took their swords out of their sheaths. And they took their spears on their chest. And they announced, Habib ibn Mazahir and other Ashab of Imam Hussein, they announced, Oh, women of the house of Rasulullah, we are here to give our life. If you order, we will chop our heads off right here in front of you. If you want to order us, we will kill ourselves. We'll pass these spears through our chest right now. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. This night passed. Zainab is preparing herself for the shahadat, but this is the night where she cannot hold her tears. She is seeing her brother Hussein the last time. Tomorrow, none of these will be here. Zainab is, her heart is like melting. Her heart is full of tears, but tomorrow the same Zainab on Layla Shami Ghariban, Zainab will become so strong. She will pick up a stick from the khayma and she will guard those survivors of Ashura, and she will become a leader of those who remain and survive the massacre of Karbala. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين والشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله اللهم لعنهم جميعا بجاه محمد وآله الأطهار.